a job you love doing, you'll never have to, and his burden is light. If you put on a yoke with Jesus, he carries the weight. Growing up in the West, I pictured two big oxes or bulls in this yoke.
Donc iwe karavuga umuntu wakuri ino iwe karabona ko inka zibe zihagaze nico cuma kiri hejuru. Yesu yavuze ngo yoke yanje
umutwaro wanje
apana umutwaro. Hari yoke n'umutwaro. Yoke ni kigifatisha inka hamwe kugira ngo zidatandukanye zikoreza jana umutwaro hamwe. Zigende zikwega mu mbaraga zingana. Ariko haba n'umutwaro zushobora kuba zikoreye zikwega. Swade no guhinga cyangwa n'umuzigo zikwega.
As you can see, artistry is not my gift, but it's a picture of a yoke that two ox would put their heads in. And they would pull the carriage. That's not the picture I want to share.
Kinyarwanda ngo ni ingoko. Kinyarwanda ngo ni ingoko.
N'abantu babiri bafashe urabona iyo mufashe mwikoreye ku rubaho yari imbere ubundi nyuma hajya mu mufatikanyije bwa buremere.
I want you to think about two men. They have a pole on their shoulders. There's a weight between them on that pole. They're each carrying an equal amount of the weight. But what if one man tries to get further back on the pole away from the weight? The other man is going to have a heavier load. Picture. You and Jesus are carrying that weight. He's not moving away from the weight. He's moving closer to the weight. The closer he gets to the weight, the more of that he's carrying and the less you're carrying. And then, if you imagine, he's taller than you. As he gets closer, the pole can get out of your reach. So you are riding on the pole like the weight is. Jesus said his burden is light and his yoke is easy. One of the things that we want to address today is finding what is it that Jesus wants you to do. Because when you find that, you're with Jesus on that pole and he's carrying all the weight. you're doing his work. He's filling your fields with grain. So you can pour out and sell to others. So thank you very much for that question. I promise we're going to dig into that. And if by the end of the day, if I haven't, please ask again. Okay? Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. My question is, I think you've answered it, but now raise your hand if you know what your gift is. You know what your product is. You know what product you're taking to market. Thank you. So the exercise on the back of this we'll do later. First, again, take a sheet and pass it around. There are people much smarter than me that have studied that question. One group in Japan are well known as having the longest lives of anybody on earth. They've learned this philosophy and doctrine. They've learned to live in that square in the very middle that says ikigai. We're going to work our way into that middle square. We're going to start with the 4 outside circles. And I'm going to walk through those 4 outside circles and then see what kind of questions we have. Question number 1 to ask yourself. You can see it on the thing. We're going to work around the picture like a clock. At the top, what do you love doing? So you'll think about what things do you like to do? Then, moving around the clock, you'll think about what does the world need? When you look at your community, what's missing? I'm convinced God doesn't show me things except what He wants me to help impact. I worked many years in hospitals and learned there are things that he's not calling me to. I had friends that would walk into this room and look at the ceiling tiles and say, there's a black spot right there. I don't notice. I notice there are chairs for me to sit in. I notice there are good friends for me to sit with. But some people notice there's a black spot on that ceiling. If God's showing you a black spot on the ceiling, it's not because he wants you to tell Victor about it.
Recording in progress.
Sorry.
Okay. He's showing you something because he's wanting you to be part of it. That's not the only circle. So there's a lot of things. I'm sorry. That's not the only circle. There will be many things that God's showing you that won't be your business. Maybe you'll work in those things otherwise. So then working on around the circle, the next circle, what can you be paid for? What kind of things do you see somebody else getting paid for that you could do? Keep going around, then finally, what are you good at? Where does people ask you for advice? Where does people ask you to teach them? As we work in these 4 circles, then we start seeing how we can identify what it is God's calling you to. If you look at the first and second circle, what do you love doing? And what does the world need from you? Where they come together, you can see mission. You love to sing, the church needs singers. You can see mission in those 2 circles. In what the world needs, and what can you be paid for, you can see vocation, employment. You can see employment. In the 2 circles, what can you be paid for and what are you good at? You can see profession. Think of a professional soccer player. They're good at it, and they can be paid for it. Once they start getting paid for it, they're a professional. Then the last 2, what are you good at
hano havuga ngo niki ukora neza cyane
and what you love doing,
n'icyo ukunda gukora
you can see passion.
haba hariho passion ubwitange ishaka
In those two circles,
hano muri circles ibiri
I can be excited
ahangaha hariho no kwishima
doing what I'm good at
gukora icyo nkunda gukora neza
and what I love doing.
kandi nkunda gukora
It's passion.
bitanga ibyishimo bineza neza.
Look at where there are 3 circles but 1 missing.
hariho circles zitatu ariko hakabura imwe.
When what you love doing is missing, it's not there.
icyo ukunda gukora ntabwo gihari.
iyo kimwe kibuze.
Okay.
The triangle at the bottom,
urebye triangle iri hasi
you can be comfortable,
ushobora kuba uguwe neza
but you not feel good.
wumva worohewe ariko utamerewe neza.
You'll be empty.
uri gutyo
There's no joy.
nta byishimo.
If you're good at something
iyo ufite ikintu ukora neza
and being paid for it,
kandi ugihemberwa
and it is something the world needs,
kandi ari ikintu isi ikeneye
but you don't love it,
ariko udakunda kugikora
you're comfortable
urorohewe
but empty.
ariko nta kintu kirimo.
If what the world needs
iyo hari icyo isi ikeneye
is missing,
icyo isi ikeneye kitarimo,
the triangle across from that,
triangle iri aho hirya inyuma y'iyo circle,
you feel satisfaction
wumva unyuzwe
but uselessness.
kandi ntabwo uba ukenewe, ntabwo uba wakora ibintu bidakenewe,
No value.
bidafite agaciro.
You're getting paid,
urahembwa
you're good at it,
kandi kurakora icyo ukora neza
and you love doing it,
kandi ukunda gukora
but there's no need.
ariko ntibikenewe.
So you're useless.
ni ukuvuga ngo urakora iby'imfabusa.
If the bottom one,
urebye
being
iyo hasi
paid,
yo guhembwa
is missing,
idahari,
then you're good at it,
urakora ibyo ukora neza
you love it,
kandi ukunda
what you're
gukora
doing,
ibyo wakora,
and it's something the world needs.
kandi ni ibintu wakora isi ikeneye kubikora.
You're full of joy and happiness,
kurumva ubikora wishimye kandi unezerewe,
but you don't have any money,
ariko udafite ifaranga
no wealth.
ntabwo ari byiza rero.
So we need all 4 of those circles.
dukeneye rero izi circle zine zose
It's where all 4 come together
aho zihurira zose,
that you find a kigai,
aho ngaho niho usanga kigaha,
that core value.
umutimatima w'ikintu cy'agaciro,
What's working in your heart
gikora ku mutima wawe,
so you can be carrying that yoke with Jesus.
ushobora kuba wikoreranye umutwaro na Yesu,
He's carrying all the weight.
ariko atwaye umutwaro wose, uburemere bwose ari we buriho.
So how do we get there?
ni gute se bikorwa tukagera?
So on the back of the page
aha ngaha rero inyuma y'uru rupapuro
is your homework assignment.
aha ni umukoro.
You pray about,
sengere,
you think about,
bitekereze,
you ask others,
bibaze ku bandi,
what do you love doing?
niki ukunda gukora,
And you make a list.
numara ubushireho ku rutonde.
You pray about,
bisengere,
you ask others,
baza abandi,
and you think about,
bitekereze,
what can you be paid for?
ikintu niki ushobora guhemberwa,
And you make a list.
wandike urutonde.
You ask yourself,
wibaze,
pray about.
Ubisengere.
You ask others.
Baza abandi.
What are you good at?
Niki kintu uzi ukora neza.
And you make a list.
Uzandike.
You ask yourself.
Wibaze.
You pray about and ask God.
Usenge ubaze Imana.
You ask others.
Ubaze n'abandi.
What's God calling you to?
Niki Imana yaguhamagarira gukora.
And you make a list.
Uzandike ushyire ku rutonde.
There will be many different things on those 4 lists.
Hari ibintu byinshi kuri urwo rutonde, ibintu bine biri kuri iyi liste.
But you'll start seeing things that are on 2 lists.
Uzatangira kubona ibintu biri kuri liste zibiri.
And you can see where they bring you together in your mission or your passion.
Bikuza bihuza ibintu bibiri kuri mission na passion.
Or your vocation.
Cyangwa umurimo.
Or your profession.
Cyangwa umwuga.
When you see things on 3 lists,
ubibonye ibintu ubonye ikintu kimwe kiri kuri hatatu hano,
you can see what's missing, that you have satisfaction,
uhita umenya ikibura nimba ari ukutanyurwa,
but useless.
Cyangwa bidakenewe.
You can see where you have joy and fullness,
ushobora kubona ufite ibyishimo,
fullness,
buzujwe nyine wahagijwe n'imbaraga,
but no wealth.
ariko hatari ubukire, hatari amafaranga.
The things that you find on all 4 lists,
ikintu usanga hose kuri liste zine,
that will give us something to talk about.
kiraduha ijambo ryo kuvugaho hano.
What's your product?
Kivuga ibicuruzwa byawe, ni ibicuruzwa ufite.
I will defer to Victor.
Ndaza kusubiza Victor.
Timing and process. Time and process.
Umwanya wo kubisubiramo cyangwa wo kubitekerezaho.
How we go forward.
Uburyo ki dushobora gukora.
I will work with you collectively, individually as needed, to help you grasp your product, your service. You're the key guy. Does that come close to answering or helping to answer your question?
Say your explanation, yeah.
Or at least give you some steps to move in that direction.
Ingingo ushobora gukoresha kugira ngo ugere kuri ibisubizo.
Uzazanye ibindi bibazo.
It has brought more questions.
Good. I like that. One more thing, Victor, and then I will pass it.
No problem.
You've seen the maps. You are here.
And
then you figure out where do you want to get to there. Well, you are here. We want to figure out where's there. Understand. It means change. It means you'll do things differently. You will try new things. That's hard. To get to a new place takes three things. An economist, college professor, put it into a formula. Far right, R stands for resistance.
Resistance.
We are, I explain we are comfortable where we are. Moving has to be purposeful, has to be on purpose. We have a natural resistance to change. Some people call it apathy. Some people call it laziness.
Okay.
Okay.
To picture it, when I was a young man, we got to watch the spaceships launch to the moon. They would say, they would count down 10, 9, 8, until they said lift off. And they would light the rockets. The rocket would sit there and shake. My numbers aren't precise. I can get the precise numbers for you, but it took like 5 seconds for that rocket to get 5 foot off the ground. 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005 to get that high. That's not traveling very fast. By the time the rocket escaped gravity, it was traveling at over 200 miles an hour. They didn't burn more rockets. They didn't, no more fires. The same fuel. They didn't push the pedal further. The rocket kept gaining momentum as it moved. Had to overcome inertia, apathy, laziness. For you and me,
kuri jewe nawe
to get to the moon, to lift off,
kugira ngo tubashe guhaguruka tugende
we have to have three things.
dukwiriye kugira ibintu bitatu.
D
ririya jambo ryanditseho ngo ni de
is dissatisfaction,
ni ukutanyugwa,
not happy with where I am.
mbese kugaya aho uri.
That's the first thing we have to have.
icyo nicyo dukwiriye kugira kwanza cya mbere.
You have to decide today, I don't want to be here tomorrow.
ukavuga none ko ndashaka kuguma hano kwiye kuhava.
Number two,
ijambo rya kabiri
you have to get a clear vision. V is vision.
ni ukugira ngo ubashe kugira viziyo cyangwa icyerekezo gisobanutse.
You have to see a vision of where you want to get to.
ni ukugira intumbero y'aho ushaka kugera isobanutse.
And number three,
ijambo rya gatatu
steps.
intambwe.
You have to have a clear set of steps to start the journey.
nuko ukwiriye kuba ufite intambwe z'ibanze zisobanutse zo kugira ngo utangire urugendo rwawe cyangwa uve hajya muri comfort zone wari uri.
Who here knows math?
ninde uri hano uzi ibintu by'imibare?
Multiplication?
abantu bazi kongeza. gukuba, sorry.
Keep carrying the pen over here. So in this,
muri iriya jambo
4 times 2
kane gukuba kuri kabiri
times 1
gukuba kuri rimwe
is 8.
ni 8.
Okay? Now, these are multipliers.
ariya ni ibintu kuba.
So, the rules of math,
itegeko ry'imibare,
if one of those is 0,
iyo ari amajambo cyangwa se biriya bintu kuba kimwe ari 0,
it doesn't matter how big these numbers are.
ntacyo bitwaye imibare iyo ari yo yose yaba iri kuri ziriya ntambwe,
That's going to be 0.
biraza kurangira ari 0.
So if any of these are missing,
ni ukuvuga ngo kimwe iyo kibura muri ziriya ntambwe zitatu,
you're going to be the rocket stuck on the ground.
uraguma hajya uri.
You're never going to get to lift off.
ntabwo uzatera intambwe ngo uhave uhaguruke.
You have to have all three,
ukwiriye kugira ariya majambo atatu cyangwa intambwe zitatu,
and they all have to be greater than 1.
kandi ziriya ntambwe zitatu zose zikwiriye kuba ziri hejuru y'imibare umwe.
So as you leave here today,
ubwo rero muva hano uyu munsi,
think about, do you want to get to that goal?
tekereza niba ushaka kumenya ese ndashaka kugera kuri iriya ntego.
Are you willing to decide, I'm not happy with where I am today?
ese urashaka kuvuga ko aho uri uharambiwe udashaka kuhaguma?
Are you willing to start thinking about, where do I want to be?
urashaka kwanga kugumaho uri?
And will you walk with me to set out your steps to how to get there?
ese kandi urashaka ko dufatikanya kugira ngo tubaze gushyiraho intambwe zigufasha kugera aho ushaka kugera?
Your first homework, your first test is make 4 lists
ni ugukora izi lisite zine
and see for yourself where they fit and where they are all.
noneho urebe aho zija hariya muri ariya maserike.
Questions?
hari ufite ikibazo?
Gentlemen, I'm excited.
ndishimye.
The potter looks at the clay,
umubumbyi areba ibibumbano,
and in his mind,
mu bitekerezo byiwe
he imagines a great wall of vessels.
agahita abona urukuta runini rwuzuyeho ibibumbano,
A room full,
cyangwa se icyumba kinini cyuzuye ibibumbano,
beautiful vessels,
ibibumbano byiza,
each one for their own purpose.
buri kibumbano cyose gifite intego yacu.
I'm not the potter.
ntabwo ndi umubumbyi.
The potter
umubumbyi
looks at you
arakureba
and sees a vessel.
akakubona k'igikoresho.
His burden's light. His burden is light. His load is light.
Oh,
not heavy.
His load? Okay. Umutwaro wiwe uroroshe.
Let's walk together.
Reka dufatikanye tubikore hamwe.
Victor?
Thank you so much.
Murakoze cyane.
Yeah, there's someone with a question.
Okay, yes.
There's when you like to paint and you feel it's your calling. But when you're doing stuff, other people will tell you that that's not your gift or your calling, your talent. While yourself, you don't feel like a room of doing anything else except what you're doing. So is that what you're doing? Is your calling, or how can you discover your gift? While what you're doing is on other people's benefit, and they are telling you that this is not your gift, and you need to sell that product to them.
Mm-hmm.
So how?
So, okay, let me take this one. So, what you're doing, you're good at it. You're getting paid for it. And it's something that somebody needs. Yes, no, yes?
Yes.
You don't love it.
You love it.
Do you love it, yes or no?
You love it.
Okay, well, then that fits right in, that would be an option. If it's something that does all of those things.
I think his question was like, you're doing something and you feel it's your gift, but you know, what you're doing is a product you're selling. And those people who you need to sell it to them, they are saying this is not your gift. Why you feel it is your gift and you're happy doing it, how do you think is that? That's his question.
Okay. So you have something you want to do, but people don't want to buy because they're not pleased with the product. Is that fair?
Yeah.
No. I think it's a different. The question is on being discouraged by people.
Yes. Yeah.
So when he does something, people say, you should not be doing this. But they need the product. But it is like the problem is on the person, not on his.
So they like the product.
Yeah. It's good. I think you need to do it better, maybe.
Well, why don't they like it? Why don't they like you doing it if they like what the product is? If Victor, maybe you can help with this. So, if you go make a cup of coffee and it doesn't have sugar, it can be good coffee, but it's bitter. You don't really like it. You would like it if it had more sugar. Make the coffee better. Is that not, that's still not recipe?
No, that way. What he's asking is not really within this. is outside this syndrome. Here we are talking about let's say the product, the real work, and then the market.
Okay.
But his concern is about himself, how the world perceives him, not what he's doing. So,
Yes.
so I think that's what he is. To me,
So the pot is saying to the potter, you didn't make me very good.
let me give you an example,
Okay.
practical example. I have several such. I was preaching one day in a church. Those who know Philadelphia Church in Bukavu. And I think that they had really the anointing. After preaching, when I was coming out, it happened several times. Someone comes happily, joyfully, and hugs me and says, "Oh, you really blessed us today. But you look like Tutsi." So I was wondering where the message and my tribe really meet. He needed my preaching. He loved my preaching, but he didn't love me. I think that's his concern.
To your question, do you need him to love you?
You
need God to love you.
So then that's the right way. So there will be always people discouraging. I think you need to focus on what you are doing. People will hate you for no reason. People will even hate you on the success you're having. So if you listen to those things, you can't move. So I think, to me, focus. If your product or services is yeah, area for me, the formula is there.
The thing that I've learned in my life, criticism is a gift. When you come to me after this teaching and say, "Joe, your buttons were wrong," I thank you. Tell you a story. When I was a young man, 25 to 30 years old, I was working in a big office. There was a long hallway that went to the bathrooms. I came out of the bathroom, walking down that hallway. I passed a gentleman, and he said, "Hello, Joe." I said, "Hello, David." And we crossed. Shortly thereafter, I passed two ladies. They said, "Hello, Joe." I said, "Hello, Mary and Martha." And we passed. I came to another gentleman who said, "Joe, stop. There's something not right. My shirt was sticking out of my fly. Do you think that first gentleman didn't see that? He saw that. Do you think those two ladies didn't see that? They saw that.
barayibonye.
Do you think they didn't talk about it?
Uratekereza ko batigeze babivugaho se?
They talked about it.
Barabiganzeho.
But only the second gentleman
Ariko wa mugabo wa kabiri
was brave enough to go at risk
yahise afata icyemezo.
and say, stop, Joe.
Aravuga ati hagarara Joe.
There's something wrong.
Hari akantu katagenda.
Most of the criticism you get
Rero abantu baguca intege bagukritika
will just be jealousy.
benshi bazaba ari ishari.
Other people are jealous of you.
Abandi bagufitiye ishari.
When you start making some success,
Iyo utangiye rero gukomeza utera imbere ugera ku musaruro mwiza,
other people say, oh, you're just lucky.
bazakubwira ati wowe wagize amahirwe gusa.
You don't have any skill.
Ntabwo ari ubumenyi bwawe
They're jealous.
ni ukubera wowe ufite ishari.
But even in those,
no mu gihe rero cy'abantu bahakana,
some will say, Joe, your buttons are messed up.
bamwe bakavuga ati ubuto bwawe umeze nabi Joe.
So when I get that criticism,
Iyo mbonye abantu bankritika bene uko,
I say thank you.
ndababwira ati murakoze.
I go home,
Nsubira imuhira,
I get on my knees,
ngapfukama,
I ask the potter,
nkabaza umubumbyi,
is this vessel broken that way?
nkamaze se iki gikoresho nuko kimenetse.
And if it is, he says yes,
Nimba ari byo arambwira ati yego,
I need to fix that button.
nkwiriye gutunganya bwa buto.
If it's not,
Nimba atari byo
he said, Joe, don't worry about it.
aravuga ati John ntugire icyo bigutwara,
And I don't worry about it.
kandi ntibigire icyo bigutwara.
That's my story on criticism.
Iyo rero ni inkuru y'ibijyanye na Richard.
uriya niwo banze gusaba.
Okay, first of all.
Hari igihe utangira ibintu
There is when you
bya
start,
business
like a business,
kandi ukabona mu by'ukuri uri mu mpano yawe
and you feel you are in a gift,
ariko wakora bikanga
but when you try, you fail,
ugenda ngo utere intambwe bikanga ugasubiramo bikanga
and when you
ibya kabiri
repeat, you fail,
ibya gatatu
and five,
ariko wumva ari byo bintu ukunze kandi ari impano yawe
and when you feel like it's your gift and you love it,
ukageza inshuro zitatu byanga
you try 3 times and you fail.
ese icyo gihe wakora iki washaka indi mpano
What can you do at that moment? Are you gonna search for another gift?
God said,
Imana iravuga ati,
a just man
umugabo w'umunyakuri
falls 7 times
agwa karindwi
and gets back up.
kandi akongera akavuga.
Now, I spent a lot of my time
Ibihe byanje nagiye
as a child
ndi umwana
on a farm.
muri ferme cyangwa se aho kororera cyangwa guhinga,
A lot of cows.
mu nka nyinshi korora.
As I was walking through fields,
Ndiko ngenda
I
mu
would
masambu
step
ngakandagira,
and the ground was squishy.
ngakandagira ahantu hubagana,
And I would pick my foot up and it smelled.
narengeza ukuguru nkumva ko haranuka.
I learned
Niga
there's no shame in stepping in a pile of manure.
nta soni gukandagira mu
There's no
mase,
shame.
nta soni biteye gukandagira mu mase.
It happens to all of us.
Byarabaye kuri twese.
Now, if I stand there and start swimming around in it,
mbashije kugenda nkabyizengurutsamo nkiviriringamo,
there's shame.
biteye isoni.
Wash it off,
Kubyoza nkihagira nkabyikuramo,
learn what you can learn,
nkiga icyo ushaka kwiga,
and go forward.
wamara ugakomeza.
I close that with my rule on mistakes.
Ndashaka gusubiza iryo jambo mvuga uko mbikora ku bijyanye n'amakosa nkora, itegeko ryanje ku bijyanye n'amakosa ngwamo.
When somebody would come into my office and say, Joe, I made a mistake,
Iyo umuntu aje mu biro byanje akavuga ati Joe nakoze ikosa,
and I said, thank you.
ndamubwira ati urakoze,
Because if you show me somebody that never makes a mistake,
kuko uneretse umuntu utarigeze akora ikosa,
I'll show you somebody that never does anything.
nzakwereka umuntu utarigeze agira icyo akora.
So because my employee,
Kuko
my staff,
umukoresha wanje
made a mistake,
yakoze amakosa
they were trying to do something.
baragerageza gukora ikindi kintu mu bundi buryo.
Thank you for the mistake.
Wakoze kubwo gukora ikosa.
But
Ariko
if you can't learn from your mistake,
niba udashobora kwigira ku ikosa wakoze,
you wasted your energy to make it.
ni ukuvuga ngo wakoresheje imbaraga zawe nabi mu gukora ikosa.
When you fall,
mu gihe uguye bengera,
pick yourself up,
ongera uhaguruke,
say, what can I do better?
niki nshobora gukora neza kurushaho,
And go again.
wamara ugakomeza.
And I'm sorry, one more. The best business advice,
Inama nziza yo gukora ubucuruzi cyangwa uzashara,
the smartest business developers
abantu bakora gutera imbere ko bizashara
will tell a starting business person,
bazakubwira ati umuntu utangira bizashara
fail often
atsindwa kenshi
and fail fast.
kandi bakananirwa vuba vuba,
Because when we fail,
kuko iyo tunanirwa cyangwa dutsindwa
we learn.
turiga.
Does that help?
Se biragufashije.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Philomena.
he is asked first.
Yeah, my question is about those 3 steps. And you say that you have to, you don't like where you are now, you need to move forward. That's number 1. And number 2, you have a vision. But the number 3 is more difficult because you don't know how to start. And even you say that starting point is a very difficult for everything. So, what's the method you can, how you can start your vision?
Abajije ati se abajije ziriya ntambwe zine yatubwiye, ijambo nyambere ryo kugaya aho uri, ijambo rya kabiri ryo kugira intego isobanutse, ijambo rya gatatu ari naryo rya nyuma ari uguhaguruka gutera intambwe ukava aho uri. Aravuga ati se igihe iriya ntambwe yo guhaguruka kandi yavuze ko ibigoye cyane, none ni gute ushobora gutera iriya ntambwe yo guhaguruka kandi mu gihe waba ufite biriya bindi byombi kandi ari intambwe igoye cyane? Nicyo arabajije.
Your steps
Intambwe yawe
are going to be different than Victor's steps.
cyangwa intambwe zawe zizaba zitandukanye n'iza Victor.
So I can't tell you
Ntabwo nshobora kukubwira
what are your steps.
intambwe zawe izo arizo.
I can work with you
Nshobora gukorana nawe,
to help you
nshobora gufatikanya nawe kugufasha
to find your steps.
gutahura intambwe zawe.
And will you be an example for me?
Ushobora kuba n'umufano.
Can I ask you some questions?
Se nshobora kukubaza.
Tell me a little bit of your vision.
Mbwira gatoya ku bijyanye na vision yawe.
I said before that my vision is I need to preach, to help people to preach outside of their churches. Because the church in America, they have their program, they have everything in program. But after churches, pastors need to preach. After churches, singers need to sing, to do many things for the glory of God. So I need to help those people who need.
Okay. What are you doing to fulfill that?
Yes, I started the
Wait,
ministry.
hold on. Let him translate.
Okay, karamubwira vision yiwe. Aravuze ati iwe ashaka gukora, yamubajije ngo namubwire vision yiwe kugira ngo abashe gukoresha vision yiwe kumufana itubere urugero. Noneho aramubaza, aramubwira ati jewe shaka gufasha abakozi b'Imana uburyo bwo gukwiza ubutumwa bwiza hano muri Amerika. Hano abantu baraza, abapasiteri bakabwiriza, abantu bagataha, abaririmbyi bakaririmba bagataha, ariko iwe nibyo rero rekasobanura uburyo vision yiwe imeze. Yaramubajije icyo akora rero.
Okay, let me restate the question. What are you doing to preach outside of the church, personally?
Personally, I started the ministry, And before going, I started a ministry and it has a studio, and this studio is helping people. But I found that I have to have documents, and when I started trying to have those documents, it was hard, and I tried many times. I didn't have anybody to help me to have those, which will help to have those 3 steps. So, but I'm trying my best to help people in my own ability. But I need more. I need money. I need people. I need something.
I understand. I do know a little bit for everybody's benefit. I know fully.
Avuze ko abizi noneho mubwiye imbogamizi yagiye agira mu kugira ngo iwe yamubajije intambwe rero yateye zo kugira ngo atangire, avuga ko yatangiye ministeri noneho ariko ageze hari imbere ashaka ibipapuro kujya kuba afite ibipapuro kugira ngo bikore afite ama license, noneho biramugora kandi yabisaba uburyo bw'ubushobozi bw'ibipapuro ikindi kandi bisaba n'amafaranga, noneho ugasanga ibintu byinshi bigiye bimugora kuko nta muntu afite umuheza umurongo wo kugera kuri biriya.
What is an example of how a person can preach outside of church?
Ni uwe mufano w'uburyo umuntu ashobora kwigisha hanze y'itorero.
Yeah, for example, if I help someone to record a song, this song will help many people in the media, and the people will watch it, and the people will listen to the message from their home, when they are working and wherever. And if someone needs to preach, to come to my studio and preach, and
now let's just stay with one thing, right?
Okay.
So one thing you can do, you can record a singing artist.
Yes.
How do you find a singing artist?
I have to. Can you repeat the question?
How?
Ni gute ushobora kubona umuririmbyi uza kuri recording indirimbo?
They are just calling. They are calling me that we need to record song from many places. They will come to record, and they will record and go.
How many people are waiting because they called you? How many people are waiting to get into your studio?
A lot of people are waiting.
How many? 5, 50?
No, like
around
when? In what period?
This month. This month.
Like now I have 3 groups.
Okay. Are they recording?
Yes, when they will come, they will record.
When will they come?
They are coming Saturday, recording, and some people will use my studio Sunday, but most of the day they are recording on Saturday.
Okay. So are they paying you a fee to use your studio?
They will not definitely pay, but they have to pay electricity and some of the stuff.
But are they paying you?
Yes.
Okay. So you're making your salary.
No.
What you have right now is you have joy and fullness because you're doing something of great value.
Yes.
Ubu nyine rero ufite ibyishimo kuko wakora ikintu cy'agaciro.
But there's no wealth.
Ariko nta mafaranga.
How can you get wealth?
Ni gute ushobora kubona amafaranga?
That's the question.
That's big problem.
What can you charge?
Ni amafaranga angana gute ushobora guca?
This will depend.
Okay. And I'll stop the illustration here, because I'll finish with, what's your next steps? Your next steps is to design a catalog of what people can pay you for that will cover your salary, and then you need to go find those people to come record. That's your two first steps.
Intambwe ya kabiri rero gutangira no gushiraho ibiciro by'amafaranga baguhemba igihe baje kurikodinga, ikindi kandi no gutera intambwe ukaja kubareba. Izo nizo ntambwe zibiri zo gutangira ukaja kubashaka.
Okay? Not okay?
No, okay.
Yeah. So before I give Linda was Bashembe. So this what we don't have background of charging services.
I understand.
I think this is the major problem with us. Twamenyereye ministeri free.
We grown up like giving services for free.
Free of charge. Let
me tell you.
Bible study.
There's somewhere I go, a place where I go every Sunday in Bible study.
Every week.
Every week. Every meeting I pay $50.
Do
you understand?
I go to a Bible study group. And members who go there pay $50 every time we meet. Initially, it was hard for to understand that. But the problem in charge, the person in charge will say this: yeah, you know, we need to come together. We are paying the building here, we pay electricity, we pay everything. So everybody who comes here pays. Since I felt I needed it, I paid. And this has been really a problem for us. So we don't charge any ministerial things we do.
So ask God, what's his position? We looked at one verse this morning. People love you if you sell your grain. People hate you if you put it in your pocket and say, I'll keep it myself. Do you buy bread at the grocery store? Do you say, no, give that to me? You pay for it. If you have a gift, a talent that God's poured into you, people will pay for that service. Those unwritten scriptural laws, God's created this universe. He expects you to pay for the bread that you get. If you're producing bread, he expects you to get paid for producing the bread. I have a joke that I've shared with my staff. With your brains and my good looks, we could figure this out. Next question, or?
Yeah, let's look for the next question.
Yeah,
Question?
Ichambere, let's agree. We had set to finish at 1, and now it's already 11 minutes after 1. So we continue. Do you have a few minutes?
I'll leave at 1:30.
At 1:30.
Okay.
I
I can leave before that, but
Yeah.
at 1:30 I will pack up and
Yeah.
go out.
Urumva. Naho none tumuhi uwo mwanya. Okay, sawa. Ga.
ikibazo canje kiravuga ngo hari igihe ubona undi muntu yagize bizinesi yarageze cyo gutekereza ku bizinesi yiwe hanyuma ubireza ukabona nawe urashobora kubikora bigatanga umusaruro. Ikibazo canje kiravuga ati ni byiza ko wigana undi muntu bizinesi yakoze ko nawe ukora umwiganye cyane cyane nkatwe tuva muri Afurika dukunda kwigana icyo umuntu yakoze ukabona ucatanga umusaruro uvuga ngo uragikora. Ni byiza kuko umuntu yakwigana bizinesi imwe. Ikibazo cya kabiri ni bibi. Ikibazo cya kabiri
Okay. His question is he okay to, someone has a business and has succeeded, and when you see on the business, you feel like you can do it too. And is he okay to imitate the person and do the same business? That's one of the question. One. Yeah. And the next one.
mu bitekerezo zanjye ndibwira yuko umuntu kugira ngo utangire bizinesi neza ni kuba ufite amafaranga. Ese udafite amafaranga yo gutangira bizinesi?
Second question is like, if you want to start a business, or in his mind, you have to have money to start a business. So if you don't have money, how can you start a business?
Thank you. I will pay you for that question after a while.
Okay.
Question number 1.
Somebody has conceived a business and started it.
Competition. If you're selling loaves of bread, can he sell loaves of bread too? So if you're doing auto repair, can he do auto repair too? I am a business coach. I know at least a dozen other business coaches here in this church. I'm here. God opened the door, and I'm going to step into it. The other business coaches are welcome. Some of them think I'm competition, and they're holding me away. But they can talk to God about that. They're welcome. If you're doing something somebody else is doing, have one instruction. You be the best in the world at it. And ancient or early American gentlemen, you probably may have seen Daniel Webster dictionaries. Daniel Webster was an attorney, a lawyer. When he was going into law, they told him there are way too many lawyers. You can never make money in law. His answer: there's always room at the top.
arabwira ati hejuru hari umwanya hejuru buri gihe hejuru haba hari umwanya.
You do it better than anybody.
Ubikoze neza kurusha abandi bose.
And then you can say to everybody else, welcome.
Ushobora kubwira abandi bose ati murakaza.
Okay. What was question number 2?
When you don't have money.
That's the one I'm going to pay you for. Here's something I learned when I was part of a team that went to Kenya to teach how to start business. They taught me 3 things. Start where you are. Start with what you have. Grow as fast as God will take you. So if all you can do is Philemon, is have one artist every 3 months, start there. Grow to 2 artists that are paying for your services. And let God grow you as He's ready. Good question. Thank you.
So that
the last question.
I had 2 questions. First question is, I think the problem that we see around the world is because we leave out business to the people outside of church. And many things that we see today because the believers leave out the important things to other people outside of church to be able to contribute. So what are the role is the church playing to actually help out young people and people who are actually starting business? What are the role actually the church can play? Most of the people who believe in actually.
What's the role of the church in all of this?
Yeah, what's the role of the church?
There's a song that's a few years old now.
A song
that says, I ask God why. Why is there pain in the world? Why is there poverty in the world? God, what are you doing about it? God said, I sent you. So you and I are the church. What's the church doing about it? What are you and I doing about it?
Second question is, I guess in our community we kind of like don't understand gift and talent. And mostly we're confused by that in many ways, that we think gift works the same way as talent.
Okay.
So could you differentiate that, how gift works? I think that gift is given like pray for God that if it's a gift, let me know how to use it. But talent, I guess, you have to work for it. So could you talk a little bit about that as well?
I will, but you have to go first. Tell me what you see as the difference in those two.
You are the question answer.
I'm also in charge.
Anybody else answer?
No, I'd like to hear his impression first.
Well, I think that gift, again, like I said, gifts you have to work, you have to ask God exactly what, like, because you're born for it. You are born with it. And you just gotta work for it and just, ask God what do you want me to do?
I love that.
Probably talent is just like hard work, I guess. It's like something.
Have you ever seen a runner? Do any of you like to run? Okay.
To run.
I don't like to run.
ntabwo njyewe nkunda kwiruka.
When you were a newborn baby,
ukiri umwana muto yuvutse,
could you run?
ese ushobora kwiruka?
Probably not.
Maybe when you got to be 1 or 2, you learned how to stand up and start walking.
Wenda utangiye umaze kugira umwaka umwe cyangwa ibiri,
But let's forget that for a minute. And let me ask you, are you a better runner today than you were when you were in high school?
Yes, thank you, practice.
You gave him a punchline. We have the gifts. God gives us gifts. Some people say, go ahead. Some people may say talents. But he wants us to perfect them.